Ben ritrovati mercoledì mattina sul floor del New York Stock Exchange. In questo momento indici contrastati, sono le 10:34 ora locale, quindi attesa per il voto alla Camera dei rappresentanti a Washington, ma di questo e altro parliamo con il mio ospite qui sul floor, che è Gregory Keating, Managing Director per il floor broker James E. Coffey Securities. Greg, thank you so much for being with us again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So Greg, we touched another multi-year highs yesterday. Do you think that the tech earnings could really stop this rally?
Yeah, I mean, the market seems so strong recently, right? I mean, 5-year highs. We're buttoned up against that. We're at the 1490 right now. Who knows? Maybe we get to 1500. If we break through that, sky's the limit. It seems. It is. So yeah. I mean, all eyes on earnings right now, and across the board today. It seems like we got a nice little sampling of good earnings across the board with Google, IBM, United Technologies. So it's all good. Market, you would like to see a little bit more positive movement, but we haven't seen that. But maybe that's just showing a little sign of short term might be overbought a little bit and some profit taking here.
Do you think that Apple could be a catalyst? I mean, of course, it's one of the bellwether for technology, and the expectation are for the first disappointing earnings since 2003. I'm just talking about like a fall of the earnings. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Apple, all eyes on Apple, right? I mean, and maybe that's why we're seeing, not so much, positive movement today. It does seem that Apple, I mean, just looking at it, it's off about 25% from its highs, trading a little bit over 500 right now. Just seems like that it might, maybe this is the time that it's going to disappoint. First time in 9 years or something like that. I think that, like you were mentioning. So who knows? But all eyes on the Apple earnings after the bell today.
And of course, we're going to have a look at Washington. We still don't know what is going to happen by now. But before talking about Washington, we just had the outlook from the IMF. IMF is revising down the expectation for the economic growth, or like contraction in the case of Europe for 2013. Is the market paying attention today?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, a part of that, bad news is good news, right? So with that downside growth outlook, that also kind of reinstates that the easy money policies across the central banks are going to remain intact. So that could be looked at as a positive in this crazy upside down world that we've been living in the last couple of years. So yeah, we are paying attention to that. But right now, the market is confident that this easy money policy will remain.
And is it true to you, as a lot of analysts are saying, that if we're not going to have an easy vote today at the House, talking about for the debt ceiling, the market could just really go down steeply?
It's so hard to predict what goes on in Washington, right? I mean, I think it came to a head at the beginning of the year. We were going to get an answer to the fiscal cliff. So what did we end up with? We ended up with a partial answer and kick the can down the road. And then, so what do we have today? We're waiting for the answer to the debt ceiling. So what's the answer? We push it back to May, with some provisions that some of the talking heads down there don't get paid until if a budget deal is not reached by the 15th of April. But so what do you?
We have March.
Right, and then you have March. So it's so hard to predict what they're going to decide down there, if they decide anything. But I think what you have to keep looking at is what does the market view it as, and the market continues to go up. So I think that the market feels that they're going to come up with a plan that's going to work.
So 1500, you think that it's a real psychological level? It could easily become a support level?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if Apple can come through with solid earnings. Google, we've seen up 5% today. That between those two, we really could catapult right if we were able to get through that 1500 level. Now, if Apple doesn't disappoints, it's such a mover of the market that it makes sense that everyone's keeping an eye on their earnings today.
Yeah, we can easily say that it's a very peculiar week, a very important week for the market.
Yeah, definitely. All eyes on earnings. Like you mentioned, you always have to keep abreast of the situation in Europe and worldwide. But right now, all eyes on Apple, I feel like.
Yeah. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Greg, for being with us.
Thank you, Lina.
E grazie a voi per l'attenzione. A domani.